up, world? Your boy is back. The one and only, the nonprofit sector connector. They call me Tommy D. I call the show Philanthropy and Focus. Robert Messeri is here from Paws of War. What do we say? Help a vet, save a pet. Robert, good morning. What's up, man? How are you?
Good morning, Tommy. Glad to be here.
I'm glad to have you here, man. I'm glad to have you here. You know, life is funny because I call myself the nonprofit sector connector, and while I've been aware of your organization for a number of years, like several years, like I know Chris McNamara has been involved with your organization for many, many years. So I had learned about you all originally, I think, through Chris, but most recently, I was looking at my emails this morning. Most recently, my buddy Kevin DeVecchi had reconnected me to Kimberly and Kelly on your team and was like, you guys need to connect. And I was like, thanks, Kevin. I'm talking to the team out there a little bit. And then I was fortunate to come out for a meeting. But I was also at the dog wedding recently with the folks from Operation Vest and a bunch of folks from your organization. And you and I had like a moment to meet at like people going, the dog wedding? What is he talking about? Gang, just that's a whole nother show for another day. But there was a dog wedding and Stefan and Jenny Hespler invited me out to the wedding from the team from Operation Vest. And, Robert, on a day where they said this morning it's 9 degrees, but it feels like -9, I remember that day when it was like 99 degrees out in the summertime, man, when we went for that wedding with the two dogs and everything
It
like
was
that.
hot.
It was a hot day, brother. It was a hot day, man. So, gang, every week on the show, I bring on a leader of an executive director, a CEO, a founder of a nonprofit organization. I like to say to help them tell their story and amplify their message. And if you could hear the raspy voice, you know your boy is playing hurt a little bit today, gang. It is that time of year where folks are getting sick, but you know what it is? You get up, you take some Dayquil, you put some caffeine in your body, and you keep it moving. Let's go. That's how it is. And I tell my children that. I don't know my 10-year-old should be taking Dayquil and caffeine, but he went to school for kickball club at 7:45 this morning, so he's doing all right. All right, let's get into it. Robert, this show is all about you. It's all about the organization. You and your team are doing such impactful work from the work you do with the animals overseas to the work you do with veterans to the work you do with the command center out in Wisconsin here on Long Island. There's so much to talk about, but I always find the best place to start is like the Genesis story. Like when you see a movie or a comic book or something like that. I mean, I was the kid who bought comic books but never read them, just put them in the plastic wrap with a cardboard behind them, hoping they're going to be worth money one day. I never read them, but I've seen a lot of movies and I know that story, that Genesis story, where it all started. So I think that is always the most intriguing for us to start there. What is your background? Are you from the island? What is your connection to this community and why does this organization exist? Like what was the thing that happened in your life and the people around you? So tell us that story, please, sir.
I think life experiences motivate everybody in a positive way. And for myself, the animals were certainly the catapult. That was the stretch out to certainly the veteran community. I've been rescuing animals my whole life and had a passion like no other uh,
Mhm.
ever since I was a kid, very young, very, very young. And I would be certainly the protector of all animals on my block when I was really young, and it just graduated from there. And the veteran connection started when we went into, and I say we, United States went into Afghanistan and Iraq, and we had not been uh, really deployed like that um, for many many years prior. So we had 100 days over in uh, Desert Storm, but now we have troops that are stationed, deployed, yet very young, in these countries. And what do they find outside of the hardship of everyday deployment? They find these little kittens, they find these dogs that for the first time they have no, especially in these parts of the world, dogs are not looked at like pets. Today, you know, you would look at some of these countries that you would think would change their practices, but they don't. And these animals, for the first time, were given love and food and water. And then their deployment continues, and these animals are with them. They're actually with them. They're working on missions. They're going out on patrol, even though they're strays. They're not military working animals. And the bond is tremendous. That military member cannot play a role in getting that animal back. So now that military member's deployment is up 8, 9 months, sometimes exceeding that, and they want to bring that animal back. We were the organization that was doing that. So we were getting these animals back and reuniting them, whether the cat or dog came back prior to or just after that soldier, and I say soldier as a general term, comes back. Now we reunite them. And you learn that how important that animal, that cat, that dog was to that person. You learn it from a lot of times you learn it from their family because you talk to maybe a spouse and they tell you that every single phone call, every little video chat was all about that kitten or all about that puppy. And it got them through their deployment. And for many, it was their first deployment. They were young.
So they can't, yeah, that's, I just want to stop for 1 second. So you got 18, 19-year-old kids. These are kids. I'm right. I mean, not in every case, but in a lot of cases, like you say, if it's their first deployment, these are very young people. And so they're disconnected from home life. They're disconnected from everything. And they're in, oftentimes in very challenging situations. Yeah. And I'm thinking of something this morning, and we have a rescue dog. His name is Cheeto. I actually hear him barking right now, but I was preparing for some stuff this morning, and I laid down, and he took his head, right? I'm laid down like flat. He took his head. He's only about 20 pounds, but he took his little head and put it like on my knee. And I was like, that's what this stuff is, man. That's the relationship. That's the connection. And the rescue piece, I want to dive so deep into all of this stuff, but I just wanted to like underscore that bond you're talking about, which is so important. And I saw, as you were saying, like the video call, maybe the spouse or whatever, and they're talking about, Rocky or Sweetie or whatever that little puppy or kitten is, man. I want to underscore something though. So when somebody's deployment ends, they didn't go there with that animal. So the government is not going to help them get out of there with that animal. Is that correct? Is that
That's
like that?
correct. So there's a lot of different reasons. One being souvenir um, laws, where you're technically not allowed to bring anything back that you didn't
Okay.
come with. But certainly, the way they fly back, you can't fly an animal. You're taking what you came with on your
Right.
back,
Yeah.
and you're jumping on a transport. You may go from country to country. You may wind up in Germany, so you cannot take an animal back. So they relied on us to do it, and it was
What was
always
the first
challenging.
one? What was the first, like, how did that happen? Like, how did they find you? And like, because there was one day there was not an organization called Paws of War, and then one day there was. So there had to be something there. Well, again, you were protecting every animal on the street. I see you doing that, by the way. We have another show I do called the Professionals and Animal Lovers Show. I told you when we were sitting in that, I'll call it the living room area out at the command spot by you guys. And I was just like, that show, my partner on that show and colleague and co-host Valerie, she is one of the most incredible animal advocates and has taught me so much. You guys are going to love each other. Forget about it. It's going to be a great connection. But I see you as that protector. So how did you even know that this was an issue to make something happen?
So Paws of War was not even in existence at the time, and I like I said, I'm always in the animal rescue world, running different organizations and helping people. I'm always helping. Uh, Certainly, people say, "Oh, you're a cat guy." I'm a cat guy. I'm a dog guy. I've gotten that label over the years because I've always helped those older. Uh, I call them colony caretakers. It's what they're called. Feeding ferals all over.
Yeah.
It doesn't
Yeah.
not just in New York, anywhere in the country.
Yep.
And historically, it's probably 95% female. They're elderly. They definitely max out their monthly check to get cat food, and they get over there. And historically, they get abused by neighbors, businesses, because they don't want them feeding the cats.
Yeah.
So we always help them, and we gave them all kinds of support that would give them the ability to continue to feed, and that gave it also, it didn't just stop there. We if we felt that we needed to get in there and do TNR and
Hmm.
increase the shelters and so forth and so on. Like right now, we this whole week in the last storm, we have people out digging these colonies out. So it was always there. It was always in my blood.
Right.
The mechanism in Afghanistan and Iraq, I was reached out to by somebody who was bringing dogs from other parts of the world during that time, but they were places that were not war conflicted, and it was just they said we've been asked and we don't know how to get these dogs out. So fast forward, we were able to get some of these dogs out of Afghanistan, out of Iraq, and when we were doing this, now this is going back before Paws of War was even established. We started talking to veterans who are now here on Long Island and in other states who now are service connected. They are separated from the military. They may have done one or two deployments, and they're like, oh my God, I wish I knew you existed because I had to leave an animal behind and I hate myself for it. Or
Yeah.
I have, I it's really has increased my PTSD and so forth and so on. And I've had veterans tell me that they have to survive the guilt over it. Why were they able to leave, but their animal wasn't? And in these parts, if you talk about harsh, it's you can't even describe harsh. There is no food, there's no water, and they're constantly prey to everything, especially people. So dogs are certainly in the Middle East. Dogs are not they're not necessarily looked after by anyone. Uh, it's a difficult challenge for them. So they knew what they were leaving that animal back
Right.
into, and they had real bad experiences going through life knowing that they had to leave these dogs back and cats. So that when we do get a request now, we do everything that we can, and we do, to get that animal out of any country. And it's not easy. We are in countries that um, are extremely difficult to get animals out of. Certainly, Djibouti and certain parts of Africa, Somalia. We've had some interesting stories where we had locals helping us getting dogs out with donkeys and little watercrafts, little
Wow.
rowboats,
Yeah.
makeshift wood cages, because you have a unit somewhere up in, let's say, Somalia, and we need to get these animals out. There's no, you're not going to just send it. Yeah, it's a complicated process, and we get it done. We have built a great team of people all over the world that are like minded and want to be part of that. They have to be. You have to be passionate about animals to want to do that, to risk yourself. Even
Yeah.
when you're driving in a vehicle in some of these countries, if a dog is in your back seat, that's a red flag. There's no such thing. No such
Being
thing as a
right,
dog.
being because they don't even think of them in that term, right? Like that's a weird thing for them, right? So if I was
Totally.
in one of these countries and I was to witness that, that would be unusual. So we know they know something's up. Yeah.
That's right. That's
Got
right.
it.
So it's always challenging, and you have to always be alert when you're doing these extractions, and you have to take on some risk. We had pulled some dogs out of a few years ago. We had a three members, service members, killed at Tower 22 in Jordan, and we got those dogs back. They just recently finally got their Purple Hearts. Some of the members that we got dogs back for, one is also a New York City police officer, and he recently got his Purple Heart. But we made three attempts during those actual strikes on that base. We had people on the ground. We made three attempts. The fourth attempt, we were successful to get those dogs off the base. But this is the kind of work
Wow.
that they're doing on the ground. I don't know if you met Derek at the office. He's one of our veterans who goes overseas at the final stages. And what's interesting about Derek is Derek served over in Afghanistan. Um, he was blown up in an IED in a light armored vehicle. 3 others were killed, and he was actually with the State Department at that time. He was with the 82nd Airborne, and he had injured himself in a parachute um, accident, and then he went to the State Department. And while he was in Afghanistan, he was in an IED that was intended for somebody else. They were on their way to an airport, bringing a dignitary there, and he has life-altering injuries on his leg. He now goes back. Forgive me, that wasn't Afghanistan, it was Iraq. He goes back 12 years later, a few years ago, to claim dogs for these active military members, and it was it was a surreal feeling for him because the last time he was there, he almost lost his life.
Right.
But now he generally is probably traveling overseas at least once a month to bring dogs back from different parts of the world. We just took some dogs. He didn't go. We had sent somebody else just last week. We had sent one of our members to Lebanon. So it's a program that we're super proud of. And when we talk to that member, and our facility is full of dogs right now and cats from all parts of the world, all waiting to go home to their soldiers, and whether they're a Marine, airman, whatever it may be, we are now getting them on their way to start traveling, and that's generally every week we're scheduling now that stateside transport to where we would reunite that cat or dog with that military member.
I want to get into all those logistics when we come back. We'll take a quick break. I want to get into all those logistics. By the way, I did not meet Derek, but shout out to Derek and shout out to all the folks that are doing the work that you're doing, and obviously our deep gratitude to all veterans who are serving and have served this country. And certainly in a time in history as we are here today, where there's a lot of strife and challenge in this country, really, and abroad. I just want to say, well, let's find it best we can, the love and compassion for each other and the connection. And the more we can connect with people, the stronger we are as a race of human beings. That's just what I got for you, gang. I do have to give a shout out to Mike. How do you say Mike's last name? Colano?
Helano.
Colano. Shout out to Mike Colano. He's a finalist in semifinalist with the Long Island Imagine Awards, leadership category, all that stuff. So we'll talk maybe more about that.
Sure.
But Robert, I'm glad you're here. We'll be right back. The show is Philanthropy and Focus. I will share the website, gang, when we go to break, and we will be right back.
Are you a conscious co-creator? Are you on a quest to raise your vibration and your consciousness? I'm Sam Leibowitz, your conscious consultant, and on my show, The Conscious Consultant Hour, Awakening Humanity, we will touch upon all these topics and more. Listen live at our new time on Thursdays at 12 noon Eastern Time. That's The Conscious Consultant Hour, Awakening Humanity, Thursdays 12 noon on talkradio.nyc.
You're listening to Talk Radio NYC. Uplift, educate, empower.
Nonprofits need connections to move in good directions. So cut through all the static. Join Tommy in his attic.
Right. That is right. Join your boy in the attic. I mean, this week it's accurate. Some weeks it's not. Some weeks I'm in the office. Some weeks I might be doing the show from the side of the Long Island Expressway, although that one hasn't really happened yet. But I would do it, gang. I mean, not today. It's 9, feeling like -9. But listen, the point is sometimes I'm in the attic, sometimes I'm not. I just want to make a quick shout out to the Long Island Imagine Awards, where I've been involved for many, many years. My firm, my business partners and I are sponsors of the Rising Star Award. So it gets more difficult for me each and every day because I make more friends in the nonprofit sector. So it's like I want everybody to freaking win, man. I'm like, what do I do? Like, who should? And again, I'm not a judge because that would be a bad thing. Because being on the committee where we read all the applications is difficult enough to try to find that final stage, who should win and who is not the winner. forget it. I never want that. But Michael Colano, Director of Veteran Advocacy and Crisis Coordinator, Paws of War, one of the semifinalists in the Long Island Imagine Award leadership category. So, I actually met, this is a funny one. I saw Mike a couple weeks ago when I came out to see you. And I met him in an alleyway one day, but it wasn't like, not as bad as it sounds, everybody. Shout out to Jeff McQueen, Prashant Gupta over at the Mental Health Association in Nassau County. They have a mural that they're putting on the side of the building there. And it was actually another warm day. So remember, I had shorts on. But I have a show called Hashtag Ending the Stigma Together, all about mental health and breaking down barriers. And some of your team was there that day, and I had made a sponsorship because it was going to say Hashtag Ending the Stigma. You were able to have like a word on the wall if you did a sponsorship, and I wanted that. So we'll have that. Then that mural is going to be underway soon. So I met some of your team, but there's so many people involved. Just in what an important community effort, right? I mean, I most of the guys I hang out with that lead, guys and gals that lead organizations, they always go, yeah, Tommy D, we do great work. It's not me though, it's the team. And I'm sure you're going to tell me the same thing. It's the people around you. Tell me a little bit about that.
That's right. The team around us is what moves everything forward every single day, 7 days a week. We don't close for holidays. Mental health issues don't take holidays. They don't take weekends. And Mike Colano, perfect example of somebody who is constantly working with program members and new candidates that come into the program. He may be taking food to someone's home. He may be just this morning, he dropped off a dog crate at Building 11 at the VA for their dog. He may be picking somebody up at 11 o'clock at night that's being released from the VA. Or he's sitting with somebody figuring out a path forward. We've created a therapeutic community within our office for our veterans and our first responders. And Mike is somebody who has the experience and experienced what his fellow veterans are going through. And he shares his story, so I'm not saying anything that he wouldn't want me to, but Mike was in a bad way at one point when he came into Paws of War, and he was ready to become a statistic, as he would say it. He would tell you that he contemplated and really wanted to end his life, and he didn't see a path out. He didn't see any kind of, and he's tried everything prior to that. He just felt that it was in the pain every day in his life. He wanted it to end, and by ending his own life. And thankfully, somebody at the VA said, please go talk to somebody at Paws of War regarding a service dog and so forth, so on. We met him. He couldn't even come into the office. We had to sit in his car with him. And I was the first to sit with him. And we got him to start volunteering. And one thing led to another. And he is now in the lives of so many veterans and first responders on a 7-day, he'll text me at 2 o'clock in the morning and tell me I just got a call from, Suffolk PD because of a veteran that needs to go to, Building 22. And I'm going, we need someone and myself to go get a dog out of his apartment. Like, these are the things that he's working on 24/7. It doesn't stop. His phone don't shut off. He's not allowed to shut his phone off. He can't. We don't shut our phones off. But these are the kind of things that Mike sees on a daily basis. And homelessness, we don't realize how many veterans, for any reason in particular, are becoming or are at the risk of becoming homeless. When they come into our life, they have to have an animal component. If they don't, we'll just refer them out to who we feel is going to be able to help them immediately. But when they have an animal, that's when we get involved. And we work with some great organizations. We could always use more, but Beacon House is one of them that we work with. And we sit down, we actually brainstorm real time when we have a veteran that walks in with a dog. And he or she generally is basically living out of their car, or could even be in the woods. And then we have to make a plan. And we jump into action, and we make sure that veteran, and even if they have to separate from their animal for a short time, they trust in Paws of War. So we may
So
have to.
in a scenario like that, first of all, you say you deal with great organizations. Shout out to Beacon House, as you brought up Beacon House. But I think like, I'm actually the MC of a film premiere for Mercy Haven in a couple weeks on March 11th. So it's a free event, gang. Go to Mercy Haven, the website for Mercy Haven. I'll get it for you. But it's a free event to roll out a film from Hades to Haven, which is was just recently produced, and I'm I got to be honest, I'm grateful and I'm blessed that I get to be the MC. Go to mercyhaven.org, gang. But I'm thinking Mercy Haven, I'm thinking options for community living. I'm thinking EAC network. There's so many organizations here on Long Island. And it's funny for me, like when we were sitting in that, I'll call it the living room. What do you call that area with the couch and stuff like that?
So that's our reception area.
Yeah. To me, it was super comfortable. Felt like
Yeah, yeah.
the living
It's
room.
a meet and greet area. It's a meet
I,
and greet area.
Yeah, and
Um,
it's a lot of your videos and stuff, and on the website I saw that it's a really well, like bright, decorated, nice, and everything like that. We were sitting there though, and I always find it interesting, Robert. Like, I'm like, wait a minute, you don't know this person or this person doesn't know that person. I'm like, Tommy D, like that is exactly what you're supposed to be doing. So I think of organizations and again, Mercy Haven being in that mental health space, there's so much overlap in these different organizations. But I love what you said. They're great, and you're always looking for more connections and relationships. So I just
that's
wanted
right.
to
That's right.
underscore that. Yeah.
Building those relationships are critical for any organization, and I think that the uh, uh, certainly in the mental health space, clinical partnerships are critical always, always. Whether they're referrals, people need to know we we exist and what we can provide. We are working with veterans who are not even in the system, have no service connection. They could be anywhere from 35 to 75. And we're working with a veteran now that is not service connected, absolutely entitled to a service connection and a highly rated service connection. But he felt all these years that he was not worthy of it. And he is very worthy of it. And why did we find him? Because he came to our mobile clinic. He brought his dog in. The dog was in not great shape, but not because he neglected it. It's just because he didn't have a trust factor to leave the house and go to a strange veterinarian for many, many years because he had a very, very bad experience with a veterinarian probably 20 years ago. So when he learned about our mobile veterinary clinic, he came there. So what do we do now? We have now enrolled him in the VA. We're working on his service connection. We have, you know, given the dog a tremendous amount of veterinary care. He's on medication. He's on the right food now. So he clearly, as far as any organization, he didn't exist. We sat with him and said, "Do you work with any?" No. So he sat in silence for all these years. So you'd be surprised how many veterans are out there who don't know about not only just us, what we can provide, certainly for their animal, but like other organizations that can be critical for services.
So they're not so if I'm hearing you correctly, and I make no assumptions, but I have connected with other organizations, and certainly I am not a veteran, and I've connected with many organizations and veterans, and some folks really truly just aren't even aware of services. What I've heard again from organizations and individual people is there's a lot of gaps in that transition when somebody is discharged and leaves the military. Sometimes there's gaps in them even finding what is available. And I know there's a lady I know, Dottie. She runs an organization. She's a veteran down in Florida. She runs an organization called Connecting the Dots. And it's all about helping folks transition so they know what their options are. And then in speaking to some younger veterans that I know, they've expressed that same thing. I don't know if you've heard it as well, where it's not, the linkages aren't there for folks it takes organizations like nonprofits to get involved and show people what's available and what they're entitled to, what they deserve.
That's right. And when we sit with somebody, we make sure that we place them in every area possible. And not only we don't just give them a referral, we don't give them a business card. We will take them there. We will drive them there. We will ask them, even if they're capable of doing it, we will to know that it's making sense for them and they're not afraid and they do it. we will tell them, hey, how's tomorrow 10 a.m.?
Yeah.
We will call that other organization and ask them if they could take him or her in
Yeah.
for whatever it may be. We will make sure that someone picks that individual up, even though they're capable of driving.
Yeah.
We want them to feel comfortable. If something goes sideways, we want to be there for them. And chances are that 99% of the time they have an animal that's connected to them. In most cases, it's their whole life. And we learn now from veterans who come into our program for training. So we allow any veteran to come into our program that has a dog already. That means they rescued a dog, hopefully. They didn't buy one, but
Right. Yep.
most of them have rescued them. And we call them knuckleheads. So these dogs are just, out of control, never got any training. And although they love them like no other, it stresses them out. Why? Because if they go out to public and
Right.
now they come into our program, they could start out with obedience and work all the way to service if the dog qualifies.
So I got to ask you a question. Can you, Robert, teach an old dog new tricks?
You can. So if the handler really commits to it, you can. Yeah. We don't like to push an old dog that may have arthritis and
right. I was kind of being cute, but at the same time, I meant it like, because if somebody is a knucklehead, and I'm raising 4 knuckleheads, and they happen to be human knuckleheads, so I'm very familiar with the term. I use it on a regular here. But I think the question is like, so it might be a dog, middle-aged dog, or an older dog that just didn't have any structure and didn't have any boundaries. And now we're going to input something, but it goes back to their person. And is their person going to set these boundaries and work with what they've learned from you all, right? That's a big part.
That's right. And because of their military background, and now they are in class with a bunch of other knuckleheads and, more important, other veterans. And now they feel comfortable. They don't feel like they're not embarrassed by their dog anymore. They're not ashamed to show up and say, well, I never did anything with a leash, because all the other veterans are struggling through the same tasks.
Yeah.
So that becomes their therapeutic community.
I love that.
And now, but what's happening is we're learning about some of these veterans who are struggling. They won't go back to the VA for whatever reason. They may not go to the mental health specialist. They refuse a lot of things. And then we get them back on track. And that's where somebody like Michael comes in, who gets them back on track. And before you know it, and we're so proud of them, because during the holidays, or when we put out a blast that we need some help with something, they're the first to say, for the first time in maybe 5 years, maybe 10 years, they're the first to say, I'm in. If you're helping give out food, you're helping another veteran, you need to build a ramp, whatever it is, they are on board. Now they're being productive again back in their community. So this is really not only just helping themselves, they are now helping their fellow neighbors.
Yeah, we got to take a quick break, but I just think that's the whole thing I'm hearing you say is that gives you an individual the reason and the purpose in their own journey is because they're impacting other lives. So I was smiling while you're talking, because I'm just saying, somebody who might have not been service connected, needed support, now gets the support, and then what do they turn around and do? They pay it forward and push it out even further to other people. I literally have chills, like the hairs on the back of my neck are standing up, because that's community, gang. That's exactly what we're supposed to be doing on this planet with each other. We'll be right back. The show's Philanthropy and Focus. Robert's here from Paws of War. I'm Tommy D. Right back.
Hey everybody, it's Tommy D, the nonprofit sector connector, coming at you from my attic. Each week here on talkradio.nyc, I host the program Philanthropy and Focus. Nonprofits impact us each and every day, and it's my focus to help them amplify their message and tell their story. Listen each week at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time until 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on talkradio.nyc.
You're listening to Talk Radio NYC at www.talkradio.nyc. Now broadcasting 24 hours a day.
Nonprofits need connections to move in good directions. So cut through all the static. Join Tommy in his attic.
We are back, gang. Go to the website, pawsofwar.com. paws.org. Paws of War. I'm having trouble with the English language today. I think I need more caffeine. I got to get some more coffee. Let's go, Tommy D. English as my first language, because it is. All right. I want to get into like I used to like this word and then it got played out. And I mean, it's a good word, but I just feel like it's overused. But I'm going to use it anyway because I think it's the right word for what I want to say. Holistic, right? Some folks might come to you from the perspective of there's an animal that's overseas. I'm back here. I'm stateside. I need help getting that animal back. Can you take care of it? Or they might come to you because their animal needs training or different scenarios. What happens though, what I'm continue to hear in our discussion so far, is when somebody enters into this community with you, and I love that word community, they now can get all these different resources. So you'll get them connected to service, you'll get them connected to community, maybe you'll get them connected to, I think I might have told you this when I met you. There's a Legion, American Legion over by my house, man. And I don't say this to be really funny, but it is interesting to me. There's like the average age of the gang that hangs out at the Legion is like 75 years old. And and I saw these guys, they were like one guy was like 90 years old, Robert, and he's up on a pole hanging up. The veterans of our community, when they put these flags, and it's a wonderful thing. I don't know if I told you the story, but I'm going to my kid's baseball game. This is about 3 or 4 years ago. And I'd met these guys a couple nights before because they had a cornhole tournament in the Legion. I ended up making friends with these guys, and it's actually how they told me, "What are you doing tomorrow? You want to come back?" And they were hanging the SAR flag over here in my neighborhood at that American Legion. But long story, I ended up seeing these guys putting the banners up on the poles, and I was going to my kid's game. I told my wife, I said, "Look, I got to go do this thing." Not that I'm like, saving anybody's lives here, but I was like, these old timers are climbing up ladders and stuff, and I'm gonna sit here at 43 years old or whatever I was at the time, watching this, a kid play t-ball. I said, I'm actually, and it's interesting to me because I find like when I go to some of these events at the Legion, it's a lot of older guys. Do you find that in creating community, you're bridging the gap between veterans from engagements and wars many years ago to our younger folks and building a lot of community and that community that like I think of the runs and the walks and I think Operation Vest and the Murph and all the stuff that goes on the island and you see some of our lawmakers and elected officials are big supporters. I always see them at Operation Vest run down in I forget the name of the park, but always go down there because we would donate the Italian ices from my dad's Ralph's Italian Ice Shop. So talk to me about community and all of that, because when I look, it says service dog training, companion animal adoption and training, animal rescue for deployment, no cost mobile clinic, housing assistance for veterans with pets, which I think we started to get into there. Like if somebody is in a situation like you said, where they're going to get into some maybe transitional housing, will you, for lack of a better word, foster that animal in your facilities for a while?
Yes.
So let's talk about that, and then more so
Yeah.
about community and sort of like, I'll even say like wraparound services, if you will.
Yeah. So, right. So we're very, very community focused. Okay. Veteran led, which is very important for the peer to peer. And you mentioned, some of the legions, the VFWs, those members are aging out. They have been trying to bring in the OEF and OIF members for a lot of years, for 25 years. And it didn't work. And the reason for that is the veterans today, when our members came back from Vietnam, World War II, certainly World War II is when they started really getting heavy into the VFWs. They certainly had PTSD, many of them. They had TBIs. And there were no clinical studies and no psychologist that you sat with. The VA said, go home and get over it. Right. So they went to these VFWs and the camaraderie, and they drank and they just talked it out with each other, and they went home, they went to work, and the next day and so forth and so on. The new generation is very different. In fact, the new generation, substance abuse is a big issue, alcoholism, right? So you didn't want to have that mixture. But the support that they give, the support that they give us, and they give all of the communities, and all these lodges and legions, and the support we give back is and it's so promising and so rewarding. We give them companion dogs. So these gentlemen are 75, 85. We just gave an 87-year-old man a cat. That is, I can't describe what it was. You had to be there to experience it. But we talked to these veterans who lost their dog maybe 25 years ago, refused to get another one because of the heartbreak of losing that dog. They sit with us, they meet a dog. Before you know it, at 75 years old, they're renewed. They're renewed. You hear from their children and saying, "Oh my God," they're crying. "I can't believe my father, what he's like today. Tomorrow is going to be an even better day for him." So the companion dogs that we place with these veterans are tremendously important. And to switch up a little bit about our members and the community and the team. So we were recently asked to get involved with a rescue in Mississippi with 200 dogs that were living outside in horrific conditions inside. And we partnered up with the community there, the sheriffs, the animal control. And we have many of those dogs at our facility right now. And these dogs were taken off the property just literally days before that big ice storm hit. And it was the worst state that was affected. And that one area, Tupelo, Mississippi, was the worst. And it was just horrific. And they're still down there right now. And some of our veterans are down there working, getting those dogs out. Now, obviously, kenneling them and finding resources and other rescues. But many of those dogs will go to veterans. Mm-hmm. And they'll see the story. They'll see what these dogs are living like. And it will change both their lives. So, we talk about our slogan, for many years, it's helping both ends of the leash. It really means a lot. So I think that the triumph over trauma for many of veterans, this kind of, we call it a deployment, which it is. Many of these people, we had veterans there, John and Will, one Army, one Marine. This is their new deployment. And they're on the ground and they're rescuing these dogs, and it's a renewed satisfaction that they're giving back, and all of them have gone through quite a bit. So it's for Paws of War, getting them involved in these programs is critical. It's absolutely critical. We have a ranch in Connecticut where we are rescuing horses, and we've been working with some veterans, and it's very focused on not so much the equine therapy, which is a big part of it. Okay. But it's very, very different. The focus is rescue and rehabilitation. And they go through the process, and it's something special, something very special. We've been kind of doing it under the radar because we want to really understand what is going to be that it's good. For most people, they may be intimidated by a big horse. Yeah. So we're not looking to throw them up on a horse yet. And we have some amazing organizations here on Long Island, and that's what. Well,
I mean, look, I don't know if you see my hoodie, but I'm wearing a Warrior Ranch Foundation hoodie. Shout out to Eileen Shanahan and the team out there. I'm sure you know.
Amazing, right? Amazing organization, and that's one of the reasons we wanted to do it not in New York and not on Long Island, to keep it out of New York. Yeah, because we have great organizations.
I'm interviewing. I think you know this. I'm on the board of directors of Horseability. I'm interviewing my friend Katie McGowan this afternoon in studio, and she's the first ever guest on this show, founder of Horseability, and she's the first ever guest. You're the 241st guest, Robert. Like, that's how long I've been doing this thing, and it's so exciting. Equine therapy. Shout out to all that work. But you're right. It's also the if we talk of the other side of it, is the animal. And servicing that animal and taking care of those animals. Horses are unbelievable. I mean, listen, my guy Cheeto, who's downstairs right now, he's unbelievable, and he knows when I need him, right? Horses have this other situation with energy, and I can't get into it because I can't explain it correctly. But I know when I get on the campus over there at SUNY Old Westbury here in Nassau County, Long Island, and I get to Horseability, I feel the change in my body just from being impacted.
The body language that you feel, they feel. It's a non-judgmental environment, and we set it up a little different. It's a smaller property, and in the beginning, you're sitting in an Adirondack, looking at a little pond,
Yeah.
and these horses are just coming up to you at will, and you get to understand their body language and they understand your body language. But the focus is more on the horse slaughter side, getting them out of into a rescue scenario, and then we will get them rehomed. That's the goal. And so we're doing a lot of different things. Everything has to have an animal component.
Yeah. Yeah.
And these first responders and these veterans, for many of our first responders, and many of them who are veterans and first responders, of course, but for some of these first responders, what they see in the course of a week, most people couldn't handle in a lifetime.
Yeah.
So it's important that these animals are playing a tremendous role in helping them. And I think that you bringing people together, the more organizations that can assist, and we'll be the first to say it. We can't do it alone. We just can't. We can't. You talk about Operation Vest, unbelievable organization. We do a lot with them, and they're great at doing tremendous things into the community. So working with other organizations is critical. You're the first one to say it, and building that bridge so that we can all work together for that bigger purpose is critical.
100%. And thanks for saying that. And I've gotten better at receiving the gratitude and stuff like that. I used to go, it's no big deal. No, I know what I do is a big deal. And I appreciate you pointing it out because I see things that I think other people don't see. And I try to make sure to make those connections.
That's right.
When we come back, there's something on your website. It says Red, White, and Boots Country Night. It says May 19th. It says Tommy D is going to be. No, it doesn't say Tommy D is going to be there, but I will be there. That is in my part of the world, which even though I live out here, it's still challenging to get up where this place is, which is so, but it's at the Crescent Beach Club. We'll talk about it when we come back. This piece of the show is where you tell me what's upcoming, if there's anybody specific that you need to meet, and then you talk about these upcoming events and how people could support. My show is called Philanthropy in Focus. I am the nonprofit sector connector. I know it because I made it up and I had it printed on my business card. We'll be right back. Philanthropy in Focus with Tommy D.
On Frank About Health, we're not just talking healthcare. We're managing disruption and innovation. Over the last 4 years, I've taken you from epilepsy and COVID to mental health, caregiving, and now the front lines of healthcare transformation. Stay tuned for a healthier future as we bring on the innovators, professionals, storytellers, and advocates who show you how to own your healthcare every Thursday at 5 p.m. Eastern Time on talkradio.nyc.
You're listening to Talk Radio NYC at www.talkradio.nyc. Now broadcasting 24 hours a day.
Nonprofits need connections to move in good directions. So cut through all the static. Join Tommy in his attic.
All right. Join me in the attic. All right, here's what I can tell you. You know, when I'm talking to people, I was in New York City last night. I was talking to people, and I go, yeah, man, I live out in the country. Now, I don't live out in the country. I live in Nassau County here on Long Island, but I call it the country when you compare it to that other island called Manhattan. But I don't really know how to dress so country, but I'm going to figure it out, man. I got 3 months to figure it out to get to dress. But it says, get ready for a night of country fun at Red, White, and Boots, a lively evening benefiting Paws of War on May 19th from 6 to 9, and that is at the Crescent Beach Club out here on Long Island. So let's talk about it. What else is coming up? We'll talk about this particular event. Do I have to wear a cowboy hat? How does that work? I've never worn a cowboy hat. I don't know if I should ask you, or maybe some of your team will talk about that. But how can we get connected and bring things together and events? Tell me about that.
So that event on May 19th is called Red, White, Boots. It is at the Crescent Club. And it's the brainchild of one of our program members, Al Staub. He's an active reservist and an amazing individual. And we want that kind of experience for those who, one, do line dancing, big into country music, big into the whole country gear, or not, wants to just participate. And like you said, maybe you don't bring a hat. Maybe someone puts one on you when you get there. Or maybe you go out and buy one because you've been wanting to buy one forever.
Yes.
So,
yes to both.
That's right. So I think that the camaraderie in that community in the country music community is very unique, and it's going to be our first for something like this, and we're really looking forward to it. And before tickets sell out, we'd love to get everybody there. Get in there, go on our website, and definitely, it's going to be a great night. It's
Go to
going
the
to be a great,
website.
great night.
Yeah, sorry, Robert. Go to the website, pawsofwar.org. Click on events so you can make sure to get your ticket. I'm going to make sure I'm there. And yes, of course, I'll have a cowboy hat on. Al, stop. You don't know me. I'm Tommy D. If you listen to this, send me an email, tommyd@philanthropyandfocus.com. tommyd@philanthropyandfocus.com. I'm not going to say I'm going to be on the committee for the event, but I will do what I can to make connections and support for the event. And I don't say I'm going to be on the committee because sometimes I overcommit myself. So I'll just say I'll give you my cell phone number through email, and we can talk, and I'll make some connects for you. But I do not. I live very nearby to this place. It is a beautiful place on the water, up in Bayville here in Nassau County. So it is a great place to go to. Plan some time for the travels because it takes a bit to get up there, is all I would say. But it's definitely worth it. Yeah.
That's a good point.
Last time I was there for an event where I wore flip-flops. So as I keep looking at the boots on your website, it's a bit of a different scene than the last time I was up there for an event. But what else? How can people get involved? Anything specific you're looking for?
So we're always looking for veterans that need help with their animals, right? So training, or want to apply for a companion or a service. So that's the always. But people who want to just get involved with the organization, that could be going down to Mississippi, like we just did, and doing transports. Or we're always in need of transport. We always need people in our kennels. We need dog walkers. We need people who just want to work and help with our events when we're out there advocating and telling the community who we are and what we can do. Things like that are always needed, just like any non-for-profit. But we have those extensions where we need people over the road who go, and we have a bunch of dogs going to Vermont tomorrow morning. Then we have cats going all over the country. We usually put them on a plane with a soft carrier. Cat goes under the seat, and they fly out. So volunteers like that are always needed. There's a couple of events that we have. We have a Hearts and Heroes fundraiser at the Royalton on April 23rd at the Royalton Mansion, hosted by them. And this is going to be a very special evening. And people are going to have some surprises there some people that they'll meet that they won't expect to be there. It'll be a real nice event. We have our car show. This is our third annual. Ray Meyer puts it on every year. It's growing bigger and bigger. It's May 31st, Sunday, and that's at our Paws of War headquarters in the parking lot. And we keep saying, because it keeps growing, we're going to move it to a bigger location, but then we lose the whole feel of the Paws of War, the dogs there.
I dig, and that parking lot's pretty big. Let me be honest.
It is a big parking lot.
I was there a couple weeks ago, but I like the idea of you doing it there, man. It's a home game, right? If you want, people see, gang, if you haven't driven past this, where you see this huge Paws of War sign, like in front, and it's so great to see that. I would, if I had a vote, I would want you to keep it where it's at because of what you said, what we're saying. You can have a bunch of animals there, then, right? The dogs can come out, the cats, people can go in and see. Maybe I don't know. I would love you to keep it there. Do you run out of space in the lot? Is that what happens, or no?
We do. We can't accept all the cars coming in, all the show cars. So the space is problematic. But we're going to do it again this year, and I think we'll keep it there forever. But it's been growing every year. Everyone loves it.
That one's May 31st.
Come back. That's May 31st.
Yep.
And then we have our McNamara Golf outing, which is run by Chris McNamara, of course.
Yep.
He's been a godsend lifesaver for the organization for many, many, many years. And that is August 19th at Bethpage.
Is that always at Bethpage? Because I feel like I played in that outing years ago, and John Field was there from the Field Foundation. I think
great guy.
Yeah, I think that outing's. Have you always done a golf outing?
So Chris has been doing it for forever, and he was shifting back and forth. Sometimes when the opening is there, they'll move it back and so forth and so on. He usually takes 2 courses, and now it's just overwhelming.
Yeah,
and he has a business to run, He sacrifices his staff and gets people to work this event all through the year to build it up. But this year it's Bethpage, and I think that uh, it's going to be another hit as it always has been. It's just an amazing event. He always puts on an amazing event.
Yeah, shout out to Chris. Chris, it's been years. I haven't spoken to you. He's back on the island, I heard, right? So
He is.
all right.
He
So we'll
is.
have to do lunch, maybe over by you all. There's a little sushi spot in the corner in your parking lot over there. So we got April 23rd. We got the Royalton Mansion. The car show is May 31st. The McNamara golf outing on August 19th. We said it's at Bethpage, right? And then and obviously I will be doing country line dancing. Maybe my wife wants to come to this event with me on the 19th of May up in Bayville. Robert, this has been awesome. I appreciate you, man. Thank you to you. Thank you to your team. There was a lot of work behind the scenes to make this happen, to get you on the show today. And shout out to all the folks who are helping. Shout out again to Mike Colano. Mike, listen, whenever you want, bro, every other week I'm in the studio doing Long Island Changemakers, and you certainly are one of those that I'd love to feature you on that show. So hopefully you're watching this, and again, I'll reach out to you. We'll make it happen. Congrats to all the hard work you guys are doing out there, man. I'm very grateful to just know I always say this, if it's not for the nonprofits doing this work, there's no one doing it. So it's the leaders, the volunteers, it's the folks, in your case, it's the folks in the kennel, the folks down in Mississippi, folks that are moving dogs around, helping people, transports, so many people involved. So I'm sending love and gratitude out to everybody, Robert. This is just the beginning, I hope, of a strong friendship where I can continue to just play connector for you guys and make those connections. Anything you want to leave them with before we go?
Just an honor to be on with you today, Tommy.
I appreciate that. Right back.
God bless you. God bless you, brother.
Thank you.
Really,
Thank you.
everything
Gang,
you're doing.
hug your people, hug your animals, take care of people. Love you all. This is another In Focus production. I'll see you next week. Bye now.
Nonprofits need connections to move in good directions. So cut through all the static. Join Tommy in his act.